We ended off the last action-packed JJK chapter with Choso angered as he began to activate a new technique, Flowing Red Scale Stack. Chapter 142 picks up right from that moment with Choso glowing in rage as he again made it clear that he's the eldest of 10 siblings. Naoya was of course not satisfied by this answer. After all, he was talking about Choso's cursed technique and trying to figure out how he could be so tough. Naoya would notice that while he hasn't explained his cursed technique, Choso was beginning to adapt to it. The Flowing Red Scale Stack was concentrating Choso's power to his extraocular muscles to increase his dynamic visual acuity. But no matter, Naoya would still manage to land a devastating blow, responding to this technique by saying unfortunately for Choso, he just needs to make his move without allowing the opportunity for a counter. Choso would now create distance between the two, but the damage was already done. He was bleeding out heavily. This would be somewhat of a compliment, but Naoya would then explain that Choso is so tough that he had to resort to using a special weapon, making it 2 fights in a row where weapons were drawn. Then with his usual snarky tone, Naoya would continue saying that since Choso is a blood manipulation user, it should be easy to stop the bleeding, issuing somewhat of a challenge to see if Choso could focus on that while fighting him. Pretty tough challenge. Now, while feeling some pressure, Choso would reply to this by saying Naoya came well prepared. To this, Naoya would say something pretty interesting. Frankly, he feels like it's lame for a sorcerer to bring along a special weapon, but he realizes he can't win this fight against Choso without one. He then elaborate and say that his elder brothers would go around swinging their special weapons disgracefully. And this is just wild because he feels like it's lame to even carry one, and yet he's here using one. And then to judge his elders so strongly for being less reserved about their weapon usage is just all around very strange. Choso would respond to all this nonsense by asking if Naoya hates his siblings, and Naoya would confirm he does in fact hate them, because what's the point of an elder sibling if they're inferior to the younger one? They would be, in his own words, better off chopping off their own heads and dying. Yikes. With what seems like a look of disappointment, Choso would respond to this by saying that perhaps Naoya is who he is today because of his siblings. This threw off Naoya and led to honestly a pretty weird response referring to those statements as a turnoff. Choso would then continue going though, and this time he was spitting, essentially saying that it doesn't matter whether an elder brother's abilities are good or bad, because an elder brother is a model for the younger one. If he makes a mistake, then the younger one knows to just not make that same mistake. If he goes down the right path, then the younger brother knows to follow this one. Now finally answering Naoya's question, Choso would say that the reason he's tough is he doesn't have any models, that he makes a lot of mistakes, but even so, he still has to walk in front of his younger brothers, and that is why he's strong. Abruptly then, blood would spill out everywhere in insane amounts. I don't even know if the human body has this much blood. This threw off Naoya because with this much blood loss, one should be dead. A big reveal would then come. Choso has a special physical constitution that can convert cursed energy into blood. He won't die because of blood loss unless he runs out of cursed energy. Choso would now, with a look of determination, control the blood and lead it forward with speed towards Naoya. Naoya was now panicked because he lost sight of Choso because of this insane amount of blood. Naoya was also unaware of the facts behind why Choso could lose so much blood and still be alive, so in his mind, Choso must be dying at this point. Just then, while the blood flew towards him, on his blind side came Choso, sending more blood flying towards him from the other side. But Naoya would flex here because he managed to somehow dodge this anyway and the blood from the other direction at the same time. But the blood did reach his feet, he was in trouble, and blood quickly made its way to his clothes. His feet felt heavy and his clothes were soaked and seemed to harden. It was over at that moment. Checkmate. Naoya still didn't believe it was over though. Knowing his ability to trace movement, he was confident he could dodge it. But just then, things didn't go his way. It was not what he expected. This attack is something Choso developed over the course of 150 years. Supernova. Causing severe damage to Naoya. Adding to his savagery, Choso would add that he couldn't understand why Naoya couldn't love his siblings. But the joy wouldn't last. Dragging Yuji behind him, it was Yuta. Choso would take some casual blows from Yuta and fall. Still chilling, Yuta would say to Naoya that he looks miserable. The end. Things are not looking good. Choso and Itadori are both down and Yuta is virtually undamaged. Still no update on what's going on with Sukuna in the last chapter, but I'm excited to see what's coming next. This is now our third week covering the JJK manga, and I hope you enjoy the videos. If you did as usual, drop a like and subscribe to the remote notifications on to never miss an upload. And to support the channel further, check out our Patreon link in the description below. And if you want to go even further and never miss anything plot armor related, check out our various social media where we update you on the latest anime and manga news, and also have discussions that might not make their way to a video. So check out those down below as well. With that said, until next time, keep that plot armor on you. I'm KJ, have a great day. Goodbye.